so I'm gonna make this real quick. I got this from YouTube today. Upon further investigation, it doesn't seem like it really means much. Um, should I explore that? But just to make sure that everything's right, and I don't have any weird, and to make sure I don't have any weird like uh to make sure I don't have any weird I'm blanking on the words. I need sleep. Uh, restrictions on my stream, especially since I won't be able to test this next week at all. And I'm trying to stream basically immediately when we come back. I figured this would be a good thing to do. Hold on, let's try making this something like 10. Let's try that. Okay. So yeah, basically, I'm trying to immediately stream when I get back. So basically what that means is that I'm gonna go from a week of not streaming or doing anything really except for recording Mario 3D World when we get there, to trying to stream twice at minimum the day we get back. So I want to make sure that this works. Looking at my YouTube, it doesn't seem like there's anything really wrong. Nothing's counting down anymore. Well, nothing's counting down. Nothing's counting down. Nothing is different in any way. So I kind of figured, might as well start doing this thing again. It's been a bit since I started making any Sonic levels in the first place. Let me do something real quick. I wanna go, and then OBS on this other one. There we go. So I wanna I figured that it would be a good idea to use creating Sonic levels for this, since I haven't done it in a while. It'd be relatively chill. There is some channel news that probably won't make it into an update because the next update will probably be in August, and by that point I'll really have to start ramping stuff up because by then Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and Pokemon Legends ZA will be 1/2 months away respectively. So but yeah, so I'm gonna stop letting this loop for 6,000 years. Actually, let me not use the 20th anniversary stuff. Let me use for Sonic 1 and 2. Here they are. We're going to we're gonna do the classics for right now. So I think the first one, despite what we're starting with, because that one's actually just in the starting stages, we're actually gonna start with my city stage. It was originally called Abandoned Village, now it's just called Abandoned City. This was the one that I started in a stream a while ago, and it actually ended up crashing on me mid-stream. That's why the stream stopped. And I ended up getting what I did throughout that back, and I've slowly been improving it over time. So excuse the lag, but this is what I have right now. The scope of this has changed ever so slightly. So for right now, this is just, I'm more so just trying to get to make it so that I have an actual endpoint for the stage that isn't just a road to nowhere. So the way that this stage was originally going to work is that it's just one giant playground, but that's more toward a yeah, that makes more sense as a open zone, and also my computer can't really handle it, so especially not the way I wanted to make it. So instead, mine is going to be a series of, it's still going to be explorative. There's still going to be many different places to go, but it's going to be more like, it's going to be more explorative. It'll require you to find at least, what was the number I was thinking? It was like 3 or 4 buttons. There will be more than that, but this first part right here will require you to, especially after I fill it out with my buildings, it will require you to look around before you get here. So this is going to be the wall that stops you from continuing the stage without finding the necessary buttons. And so the goal here is for you to find buttons and hit them, and that will open these platforms, which will take you to the second part of the stage, which is going to be more straightforward. There's going to be a giant building back here. Not giant, but like pretty huge, kind of like that one over there. And that'll essentially be the city hall. So the main, I guess, story for the stage is, I'll save the other two, because I showed you a work in progress version of Forest Gate, and then I don't even think I showed much of a mountain trek. But basically, to paraphrase all of the stuff before that, we're on a place called Echo Valley for the first island, because it's based on the frontiers, so the first open zone. And essentially we're trying to get to a power plant and shut it down from the inside. So essentially the Forest Gate was Sonic on his way there. And let me actually just start doing stuff while I'm here. Let me see, was there stuff I had to fix? I think there was. So yeah, basically, Forest Gate was Sonic just making his way over to where he needed to be in Echo Valley. Then Mountain Trek is attaining higher ground to see where he needs to go. And this stage will be the third stage, and it's basically the whole point. You could probably guess, based on the description of what I want to do with it. This stage's whole point is that in order to get into the locked power plant, we need to disable the security systems, and we need to disable the security systems, and hold on. Yeah, we just need to disable the security systems. So that what that will entail is basically finding the buttons to open the platforms to the City Hall, and then City Hall will be where that button that would story-wise deactivate the security measures. Damn. So, yeah, that's the point here. I'm trying to figure out, because this is supposed to be parented. So I think I want it like this, and then parent. Okay. So the whole point is to get this button to lower this platform. And then if I go over here, yeah, the platform's move vector should be down. Yep, down here. And then you fight the tank. And then, yeah, it should only be one time. Yeah, move point. And the button is just the value, just the thing that activates it. Okay, so for this area, the main problem is when you jump down here, it causes you to fly over and honestly, the easiest way to do that would just have springs on the building back here. So actually, I could. It doesn't need to be a big building. I think it'd be awesome to have it be a big building, so I'm just going to do this. And then later on, I will add. And then later on, I'll add. Later on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. Later on, I'll add some other houses, and I'll add the sidewalks to each building. A lot of them will be closed, so it doesn't exactly matter if there's really any doors to them right now. And I don't plan on releasing this anyway, so it's whatever. Pink bricks. This will be replaced with blue. Where's blue? Blue. There we go. Blue bricks. So this way, if someone lands out here, like, unless you jump in like this direction, which I'll put another building over here. Actually, let me do that here. I'll put another building right here, so that boxes you in, so you can't do that. A little more. I can't do that because of this. Okay, then I'll just move this over. And then we could put like a... When I put some... I could put like a fence here. Can I? So here's the objects. Yeah, the fence. So if I create... I completely forgot how to do this fence maker. Oh, you know what? Add mesh plane. And turning it to Y rotation. Not that one. This one. That's not it. Okay, and then we just stretch it. And here, it's I believe the jump height for the I mean, honestly, This is Sonic City, so I could actually just do this. And just make the whole chain fence like this. But yeah, so recently there's been some stuff that's happened. So currently scheduled on the channel, there is Sonic. Well, okay, first off, Portal 2 is done. I think today will be when the last part on the channel, like it's when the last part of that playthrough gets uploaded to the channel, or not uploaded, but is scheduled to be public. I believe, yes, it's today. After today, there will be a day break, and then a thoughts of for Pokemon Scarlet. No, a thoughts of for Legends EA. Basically, how I'm feeling about what we know about the game so far and what questions I have about it currently. And then after that, what the week we're gone, we'll be doing Sonic Colors. The whole thing is made. It was recorded, edited, rendered, posted. All thumbnails were made, and it's currently in a playlist, and it's currently all scheduled. So all we really need to do now is wait for them to come out. It will go from the 14th, which is on Monday, to the 21st. And then the day after we come back, and that's when I do my Pokemon stuff. Also, I have some fantastic news, especially for us. I have some fantastic news, especially for us. Okay, where is this? That's crazy. That is not what I just delete that. Get rid of that too. What are these? What is this? I see. But yeah, the fantastic news is that Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 is done. We started that. That was a long time coming. We had 3 of them that were a long time coming. Generations, Colors, and 06. Mainly because Generations, Colors was one of the first things we tried to record with this channel. One of some of the last, I believe, old style video where it was like younger me, middle school me on my tablet, recording off of the screen, was an attempt at starting Sonic Colors. And one of the last video on the old channel, the one we had before that one, that one was the last video we had on that one was the first part of a Sonic Generations playthrough. Oh yeah, I was doing the fence, that's right. Yeah, so that was the first part of a Sonic Generations playthrough. Hold on, let me do this real quick. That's too much. That's crazy. Nope. But yeah, so yeah, the last channel was Generations, and one of the games. That's the reason why I started watching certain people on YouTube, and what started me wanting to attempt to do this, whether for fun or otherwise, was watching some people play Sonic 06. So that's that's been done. It was. I'm not gonna say anything about it because that's kind of spoilers. But that is. I'd I'd recommend looking at it. Trying to remember how I'm supposed to um think the way I'm supposed to do this. There we go. Trying to figure out how to nice extra life. Here's a lag and something fierce. That's something for these object creators. But yeah, so yeah, so there's a way. I think that shit, bro. God damn it. Okay. There we go. And then on to what am I trying to do here? I think I can move this now. Alright, where does that push this shit at? Puts it down here. It's crazy. Hear it, Sonic 2, please. Oh, you know what? The credits name works too. But yeah, so that's what the future holds with the channel so far. We will also be doing Little Big Planet 1 right before we leave. 3D World's happening on vacation, and 2 and 3 and Unleashed will also happen when we leave. Oh no, when we come back. Labyrinth Zone. Yeah. So that's basically all for it's basically all for channel plans. Alright, that should be large enough to fit. If not, then I can still just like copy paste it. Let's go. Skating at iron. That I'm sorry, I'm not really all that great. That transition was crazy. You know what else I figured out about this? So the way that this works is that we use something called Blendhog Level Creator. And see this right here. This thing has a really weird quirk where if you're I don't know if it's just for like the 4.2 versions, because I think there's a 4.3 version. If any of your geography or you know levels, like model level collections have spaces in them, they will just not load their visuals. They'll load their collision, I think, but not the visuals. Let me just thick up this fence here. Emerald Hill plan, fantastic. Now I have to decide on a color for this thing. Let's see what it looks like with blue paint first. Okay, and then we want to give the whole thing blue paint. Then let's see if that'll do anything. Let's give it blue paint and I don't know, red paint at the top. Oh, that's interesting. That's actually really interesting. Okay. That's kind of... Hold on, well, let me get... Oh, okay, we can't remove a slot in editor mode. Let's give it gold paint. Then add the blue paint. Tab. Okay, just hit that. See if we can assign. Yeah, it goes for all these. I like that actually. That's nice. Okay. Just tab that and convert to. Wait, actually, what size? Oh, okay. Sonic can't make it through this normally, I don't think. If I make this too wide, he will be able to, though. It should only make the hitbox smaller, the slide, so I don't think it has to... I think if there's not enough clearance, then... Like, if there's not enough horizontal clearance, then it should be fine. Okay. And then we just copy and paste this thing. First, we convert to a mesh. Right, okay. Then come over here, hit the the option. Yep, we have back face culling enabled. Anything borked. Now we just thicken this all the way up so that its actual composition makes sense. And then it is dark as hell. But, you know, this doesn't really need a... Okay, yeah, and then we want to move to UV editing, I believe. Object mode. Stop. Okay. Oh no, I want to go to texture paint. That's what I want to go to. So the way that we get these to work that I found in Blender is kind of a little bit, you know, lefts to make rights, but it is kind of right. So we select this, then we go to texture paint mode. Once we're in texture paint mode, we can see how the texture will look in game. So that looks kind of okay. But if I wanted to change it, I'd have to go to UV editing. Go ahead and select our little fence over here. Yep. And select our little fence over here. And then we'll want to I think we'll want to be in edit mode first though. And then we just have to go in here, select the texture, I believe, and then it's been a bit since I've we can change the image just so that we know what it looks like more. But so like if we go all the way up, here's a blue paintwork metal. So I want, like, I can deselect everything. You can see the base texture, and then I can select all over here, and then scale it down so that if I want to blow up the image on the texture, or I want to blow up the texture on the model, and then blow up the UV if I want the texture to shrink on the model. And then what we can do is go back to texture paint, and we can see that it looks a lot more realistic now because I've shrunken it. And that's all I really have to do for, I think, either of them. You know, if I wanted to, I can go into UV editing. It did the same thing for the goal one too. So now that that's done, I can go back to the layout, and then I can just start copying and pasting this. At least I'm pretty sure it did. Hold on, let me go to texture paint real quick. Yeah, that looks fine. But yeah, I can go back to layout, and now I can raise this. Just keep raising it. Yeah, I can just keep raising. And, I want this to go up high because Sonic can get crazy air, especially the way I changed his skateboard physics. So I want to make sure that there's no way for someone to... I don't have these play tested, and they're probably not going to be released regardless, but still, you know, you want to build this stuff with some type of attempt to keep it from being hyper broken. So that looks good. That's above these. And if you jump from somewhere that gets you higher than that, you won't even make it here. But yeah. Alright, that's enough of the classic music. Let's go ahead and loop one that seems to fit. Let me go find one. Let's see. I don't want to say... Maybe something from Forces? No. Nothing from New Frontiers. I want to do Escape from the City. Maybe something from GT? From Sonic GT. Let's try. Okay, yeah, so this is from the fan game Sonic GT. It's my favorite Sonic fan game. But yeah. So mainly, all that I'm doing around here is just trying to keep it from being a thing where someone can jump through. So you just wanna have a ton of buildings. So since we don't have to worry about the building height at this level, I can just copy this little orange building over here, turn it to, I don't know, not the Y, X. No, I want the Z axis by like 90, and then I can just place these along the side of the road, and then where necessary I can put more gates / fences. You see, like this space right here, I can copy all these fence instances and then duplicate them, and then drag them over here. And now I've started on fencing. Is this fence floating? No, it's not. Then why is it over here? I don't think it was, actually. I think it might have just been dumb. Okay, and we can just duplicate it more and more. The only time duplicating becomes a problem is when you start, like, specifically when you start doing something like, hold on, I'll give an example. I forgot to loop it. So, okay, like I was saying, the only time that duplicating becomes a problem is when you start doing stuff like this. When you start doing this and inverting it on itself. I warn against that because 9 times out of 10 that will cause the normals on it to irreversibly break. That's the reason why I have to replace some of the houses on this section, on this street, because they're all the same house. I just copied them, and the mistake inverted them. It's my fault. I was just lazy, but now I have to replace, I believe, 6 of the 14, or like 5 of the 14 houses down the street. So yeah, that's something that you probably shouldn't do. It did take me a while actually to figure out how to get the textures to sit right, actually, and that's part of the reason why, if you look, a lot of these textures are really blown up. Like if you look at this texture right here, you can see that it's blown up here, and if I go into edit mode, it's still blown up. Or when I go into UV editing, it's still blown up here, you know. Or even texture paint, it's still blown up if I go and look at it. That's because the stage was pretty much, it was made before I learned how to do that. In fact, this stage was the reason that I wanted to learn how to do that, because the more I looked at it, the more I absolutely hated the way that these worked, that these looked. Oh, you know what else that would help? UV unwrapping this thing. It's just a good way to not have your UVs be so confusing. Sometimes it's not worth it, but even here, I think it is, because if you have these textures set to repeat or clip, then you should be golden. And then, okay, I think what I wanted to stretch it upwards. Yeah, that's it. And then a little bit more to the sides. And you can also rotate it, so if I rotate it a little bit, it'll be, and then just blow it up in general, and there's a good metal texture. Yep. So basically UV or texture paint is how a lot of these are going to look. Or is basically how these are going to look in game. So if you want to see what your stuff will look like in game, you just go to texture paint and you go ahead and look. That looks fine. Could be better maybe. These are a problem. These don't look like background houses. These look like something from the PS2. So what I need to do is select the whole object, and it's just the same process from here. You know, selected object, select them all on here, select them all over here, below this up to a point where it's believable, and then that should be done. Check texture paint to see how your work is. These don't have to be perfect because they're background stuff. I don't even know why there's a whole street here. I could actually probably use this road for something else. Maybe. I also didn't do this on this houses, but the main reason I didn't is because I have to replace most of these anyway. I'm pretty sure I wrote down what houses need to be replaced. Hold on, let me pick that up. We'll likely be bouncing around between stages. So once I get some of this done, I'll be switching to a new stage that hasn't been put anywhere. I just need to find chords from Minecraft. I believe I wrote it down here, or was it in that brown book? Plans for the first VA video. Words again. Next. Would have been in that. Or not purple in that brown book, but booklet. So I'm not seeing the numbers in here. So now I wrote it down somewhere. It's not in here. It might be in that booklet of mine. Not here. I don't know where it is because I know I wrote it down. Song, music, part names. That's the adventure playthrough. No, I did. Maybe it was in like a text document or something. All I do know is that I did write it down somewhere. I have to check some other places. No, I did write it down. Let's see. If I don't see it again this time around, I'll just is I shouldn't really be sitting there for that long. You know that I wrote it down, so I just have to find it. But yeah, there's yeah. So you warned against that. But yeah. I think the issue with most of these is that some of them just become solid after a bit. Some of these you just can't see. But yeah. So that's the gist of the stage. I gotta put some buildings places and some other stuff. But I'm currently working on fixing stuff that's broke right now. Another thing that I meant to do in this section is the reason why we jump as far as we do is that it's very easy to miss these. So I want to lower these ones, duplicate all of them, and raise these up and toward the back, and then duplicate them again and have them even more toward the back. So now, unless you undershoot, there's really not a way to miss these. And then I'll put a spring. So this is the point where I can't do these. I'll have to be in objects. Springs. I'll put a set of springs right here. So the first speed 30. Turn off homing. You can't homing attack on the skateboard anyway. And then we just duplicate them. I don't necessarily like using the triple springs. They only really have one utility. But like, that's fine. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to move all these. There we go, because we got space for, I believe, one more. And we select all these again and just... There we go. Now you shouldn't miss it. And then we'll put... Here we'll put a spring that rests on these, or just in front of these, that launches you toward the road, and will make it turn so when you get launched, it takes you that way. You want to use air spring visual, no homing, 25, velocity distance of 15. That should actually no, 20. That should take you back to the road in a pretty decent distance. And then we just move this. Yeah, so we'll have this one here, and then we'll have, I label them as hoops, but they're the, dash rings. We'll have some dash rings. So I've actually been away from this for a while. Not because I didn't like it, just because I couldn't really find time to get to do some like Sonic modeling anymore. I was trying to do drawing a lot more. Okay, and then we and then we just minus that one, and then we just duplicate this, and then duplicate it again, and this one lose the negative, and that'll just be 90. Duplicate this again. So now, no matter how you hit this ramp, you should be able to make it back to the road. But just to be safe, we can put more of these down. I try to avoid dash panels and stuff as much as I can, because I think my favorite Sonic levels are the ones where you're doing back-to-back-to-back things, and I think putting things on rails makes that not as much of a, like, that's not helping the feeling of it. But I will put it there. I will put them. But I will put them there if I need to, especially in a situation like what I'm trying to prevent, where someone, or even me when I'm testing the stage, will get stuck somewhere. It's like the worst thing that could happen. And then we just slightly move it this way, and so that should take you onto the road. And then if you somehow can't make it there, you can turn, like here, you can, this would be a point where I want to use a dash panel. So like if you're just slightly off, because I know how to board turning's trash, I need to fix that. But let's say you can't make it and you hit the wall, right? Or you're about to hit the wall. That type of situation is the type where I would put I'm thinking I'm looking for something named a different way. Up rails, there we go. That would be a situation where I put these down. These will set you on the right direction. I just have to make sure that I put enough of them down that they send you the correct way, and ensure that you stay the correct way. And eventually, when you get down, because I don't want you down here though. Eventually, when you get down here, should launch you directly into a spring, and then that will launch you into another spring, and that'll put you on the road. The punishment being that, well, you lose time doing these detours, and you lose your ability to interact with the stage. So, aim it up a little bit. And then we turn homing off again. I want 30 power. This. And then from here, we could rotate this one. Here, use add scale, use X rotation to put us on the road. And there we go. Now you're on the road. It should be really difficult from this point to end up screwing it up and jumping over the fence unless you're really trying to. So I'll just start putting fencing over it. One of the biggest things is that, especially if you have an environment like this, the best thing to do would honestly be to make all the things that you'll need for the stage beforehand. Because once you do that, even if you want to make them look different, you can just copy paste them, and you can just copy paste them, and then change the materials afterwards. And then I can just do this until the space is filled the way we need it, and there we go. No more getting through the place. And then I'd like to change the orange brick on this one, so I'll change it to there should be red bricks. There we go. Change it to red brick. And I'll take another building, just copy it, put it right here. Just take this, and if I really need to, I can shrink this down and put it on the floor. Because the way that turning on the board works, there's really no way to turn in that area. Well, first off, I don't even think you get to jump height like that. But even if you did, there's no way to really turn in a way that would put you where you need to be to make it here. So right now that I've done that, I see that I can increase the scale a lot more. So go. I don't think it's clipping in. Nope, it's just a bit of clearance. Let me just drag it upward. Check, make sure it's on the ground. I think it is, but going a little bit lower don't hurt. Okay. This one's a bit awkward we can select these fences again, and then just manually rotate these. Yeah, so put them right in between these two buildings, and then just rotate them ever so slightly, and then, yep, and that should be good. Now there's no way to get in between these two either. And then after I do all this, a lot of this empty space will just be like, you know, space. Probably like some kind of like grass background or something. So yeah. So the way the stage will go is you start over here. I'll fill this area out more. Then you'll run up here. This area is something. I'll have to change this. Maybe climbing a building, but so yeah, there's these park-like areas. I have a couple of them. As you can see. In fact, let me do this, because I actually didn't end up there we go. All the way. There we go. Now if we go to texture paint, there we go. That's looking more like dirt. That's looking more like something. I don't think the colored textures change all that much. Maybe. But the normal does work, so I think the orange one did as well. I can see the changes of it on here. But yeah. But yeah, you start here. You can take any choice of area you want to go to. Originally I was going to use the whole slab, but again, that was kind of unfeasible, so instead I think I'll probably just add some objects here. Yeah, I'll probably just add some objects here. So that, you know, there's interconnected parts of the stage. So the city stage that I'm working in right now, the normal platforms actually do not have a through version, so I can't use those, unfortunately. No, 45 doesn't work. I'll need 22.5 could work though. And I just want to put it in a way where it's possible to get there. And yeah, from here, actually, you know what, no. I'll keep that for 0. I'll do that. And then we just copy all this stuff. It's really important though to know what you need to know about Sonic Sonic's abilities, because if you don't, if you don't, then you're going to find yourself having to make a lot of changes to your stage design. I'll probably still have to, but yeah, that's all that really means, is that you should aim to know about you should aim to know about Sonic's capabilities and work with them. You know, like any good level in Sonic should. I think even joke level should do that. So this part is, so essentially, because originally I was going to put a tunnel here, and that will lead over to this side, but because I'm not doing anything with that because my computer would explode, instead I'm going to put a shit ton of objects to have you climb / scale this wall, so that you can get up here. I think since I'll probably do like 4 buttons, and you'll need, like, I'll probably do like 6 buttons, and you'll need a total of 4 to open the gate. I should change the music. I'm really doing this for an hour. I haven't gotten to my other stage yet. Anything from before the sequel? Not Circumstance. Lost Levels, Sunset Star. But yeah, so I think what I want to do is I want to have you come up here, and then probably like go out and then climb up again, and then probably climb up a different way, then go out, then climb up that way again, and then a pulley. So that means that I should put, actually, what that means is that I should select all these, duplicate them all, put them up here, and then I should make these fall faster. I didn't change the fall time, so that's a good thing, but since I'm here, I will make it 1.5 seconds, and then, so I believe I can add all that to my, I can change all the attributes of these things at once by selecting them all. Then this one, Control L, what would this be considered? Object properties. So if that worked, then that should have made them all 1.5. Nope, I'm cooked. It's not hard to do it like this, it's just time consuming. You can also make it so that the longer across you go, the faster they fall. And I've also been learning Blender stuff to make better stages. Even if I don't know how to properly attribute things, like even if I don't know where I would put that type of stuff in a stage, I still think it's good to learn, so that if I ever come across an area where that would help, I'll just do that. So what I say, it was around, up another way, and then around and up, and then okay. So I want to select all these. It's probably easier to format it in a way that has each of these areas have their platforms be different, but it's just like that's not how it was already. So duplicate all these. We'll want to change the rotation to minus, if maybe. All right, well, let's remove the minus then. Maybe 115. Nope. 130. Almost 145. There we go. Jump over to this platform and then maybe get like a pulley or something up here. Grab a couple of these. In the wrong way. There we go. Grab a couple of these. And you can see you have to jump on top of them. Another one of these platforms at the end. This is by technicality 2D platforming, but I want you to be able to retain 3D control at all times, for better and for worse. So, alright, now that we've done all that, we can get to the other parts of this. So, first off, we'll want an up rail, which is basically the pulleys that bring you upward. I want one of the 90s. There we go. Hang this one over the edge, and then from here we can edit the length of it. Maybe not 20, maybe 15. With the up max speed at 30 and the first speed at 15. This is an up one-time thing. Okay, yeah, and then I think maybe I want one here. Okay, and then we put that at the edge. 10. Okay, maybe not 10, maybe 18. Raise this a little bit. Nope. This is the only part about this. When you're zoomed out, you have to select them all, unless you try to go through, like, which is part of the reason why organization is kind of important, especially if you don't feel like doing all that. Keep the max speed and everything the same. Make it event driven. And we'll put an enemy right there, and hopefully we can have an enemy over there. Alright, now we work on springs. Or no, actually we need... Yeah, okay. Now we work on springs. are my springs? There. So I want to rotate this one. Turn off homing, 30, 15. And we duplicate that. Yep, so this is what Sonic making is. It's a lot like building things with Legos or making things with clay put together, essentially. Just in digital format. Hit this way. Let me change the visual sky. And then here we'll add a hoop. That actually works out for me. Okay. So with this, we'll have to edit some of these. Cube velocity 0.5, or that works about 0.5. Speed is 75. So here I can basically make this whatever I want it to be. I think instead of an enemy for this, we'll make it balloons. Balloons. I think these are a pretty nice object to use. It just, even though they all use the same, like they all fit the same niche, it's all like, you know, they all do the same, basically the same thing, but there's visual and audio, there's video and audio flair and change when using them, so I don't think it hurts to do it every once in a while, just even though it might not be as epic or as cool to be bouncing off balloons and stuff. I do think it has some I do think it has some merit to it. $30 2.5 in case you fall. And out of control time, cube velocity time should be 0.3. Ignore swinging time 0. Yeah, okay. You can also set these to not be homing as well. Now, if you want to make this something difficult, you can put, you know, level geometry in the way. You can put you can do what I'm gonna do, which is put, especially if they're flat like this, you can put spike balls in the way and force people to aim. But I want to establish a path first. There we go. And then from here, we can change all these balloons. And this is actually pretty good because what you can do now is you can select some of them, duplicate them and put them a little lower, move their positioning as well. Maybe raise one of them up a little bit. And then if we really want to, like I said earlier, we can start putting down hazards. So here's a spike ball. Iron. and we could have this just in the middle of our section. Um, if you want to make something akin to basically DLC from Unleashed, you can, but I try not to do that type of stuff. Maybe put it directly in the swing path of one of them. You can also make it more dynamic by forcing them to move, which I can show right now. Basically, you can have it be a moving type and then have it hit enemies, and have it move a certain distance in a certain amount of time. So let's make the 5-ish seconds, which basically means it's moving 2 meters a second, assuming that is meters. And then we can just upgrade that real quick. So now there is a iron ball in the way of progress, and you can just keep doing this. You can rotate it. You can even directly change its movement parameters. So let's say right in front of these 2 balloons that are pretty close to the end. I mean, they're all pretty close to the end. If you want to, when you're good, you could skip by air boosting here. But let's say that right there, and it's vertical now. So you put it here directly in front of the pathway, and we make it move a bit more of the distance and almost twice as fast. That's 5, right? So on twice as fast. You can very easily go around it, but this is something that can force people to actually do things within the stage. Here I'm not going to do much because these already fall really fast. Maybe put like 1 or 2 iron balls down. Not many of them though, just like 1 or 2. And because this is still 3D, I can put these on different sections of this. So when I add 1 more, it can be pretty fast in the middle, especially if you're already trying to not get sniped. So now we'll want to put down more springs. Everyone has a way of doing stuff like this. Let's not make it home. Go all the way here, and then let's bring the balloons back. Duplicate. Bring those up here. And now, in this part, what we can do... was there? We can separate these a little more. So it's way more deliberate that you have to homing attack over. This will remain the same. Then you jump for this. This is where we said we're going to put the enemy earlier, so this is where we go ahead and find the enemies. And then choose which one we want to have. I'll put down a spinner. spinner. So we can turn around. Make it so that let's make it 50 or 25. We can have it fixed. Number 1. Actually, it wouldn't be number 1, it'd be number 12. Number 12. Has no movement. And then there's a lot of this stuff. You can change a lot of these. You don't have to. Since I have it event driven now, I believe is this one of the things I can use? No, but I think I can show this off. Event conditions. Event conditions are kind of switch that makes it so that something happens when some other thing happens. So in this case, I'll set this off. How many of these do I have? Alright, so this is number 2. Trigger type dead, condition all. I believe target list is the thing you need to kill. And then this is this. So that means, assuming I did it right, that means, oh yeah, that means that when this enemy is killed, this pulley will come down and then I can set a delay time. So this delay time, let's make it 2 seconds. So now, when this enemy gets killed, it will fall and delay for 2 seconds. It will delay for 2 seconds before it falls. And then from here we can just put like a hoop that's supremely strong. But yeah, so this is the general point of the stage. I haven't added as much as I would want, but Rainbow Ring, Hair Trick, or no, yeah, keep that 75, and then we just rotate it ever so slightly and put it directly above this pulley so that when Sonic jumps off of it, he immediately hits it and it forces you over here. So yeah, and in fact what we can do is we can have another pulley if we want. Oh, you know what, I put the pulley in the wrong spot, I think. No, that's the dash ring. Okay. We could put a pulley down here as well. Have this one also be, or no, not pulley. I want up rails. All right, let's get some other music real quick. It's not like I'm going to be on this for long anyway. That's nice. But yeah, so this is what making a Sonic level is like now. This city level is pretty huge, and it has some, you know, tech issues along with it. Length of this can be 25, and we'll make it event driven. This button right here, this button right here can set up one trigger. We can make it that up right there. And then maybe to actually, because I haven't gone into the modeling part of it yet, so let me do new security indicators. So this button right here, I wanted to activate the door. Yeah, I wanted to unlock the doors. So what I need to do is make a area to put the button in. So let's add a cube. Let's expand the size of it. Alright, and then from here we can subdivide. And then from here we can actually extrude manifold some of these, and that'll take us, and I can do it all the way back here, and now we have ourselves a room. I don't know about that, but yeah, it shows up as cubes, so that's fine so long as we keep it there. And then, I mean, if I really need a floor, I could just room body. And so, like, I can put one of these dudes up here. Have them all surround this thing. You can also use event conditions here to say unlock a gate when you defeat these guys. But I won't be doing that, not here. So yeah, once we do this, we just position it farther back a little bit. Come back in here. We can then subdivide these two even more. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. I'm gonna subdivide these two even more. And this will be where our indicator is. So I can extrude. I can select these and then extrude them. Or actually, extrude the whole cube. And then what I want to do is put, after this, we can tab and go back here. And then what we can do here is we can add text. So let's add text. So here's the text. And then you'll want to go into the text part. Here you can change the depth. I don't change that often. You can change the resolution. You can change the extrude. I think this is how you change the text. Hold on. It's not. Oh yeah, that's right. You have to move to edit mode to change text, and then you can delete it from there. And then let's see. say Hall Gate System. And then we can exit out of edit mode, and then from here we can actually put a texture on it, but let's not do that right now. Let's rotate it. Oh, actually, set origin to center of mass volume. 90, 90, anyway, so this is roughly the size of Sonic, so if I want to, I can move these two out, have them here. I can move all of these I can move all these over. And move you up. And this is something I want to do, so I can make this larger. Okay, there we go. And then from here, we can do a lot with this. We can shrink this. And I'll put it right here above this. It would make sense if you had to defeat these enemies to do this. And then we can have... I can make another thing for objects that's specifically for... you don't have to worry about spaces for objects, though. So, no matter how many of them are inside each other, and how many spaces there are, they will read. So yeah, lock indicators. So I can go ahead and use lasers for that. So in hazards, we can take laser, place it right there. I think I'll shrink it just so that it looks a little bit better. There we go. Try to center it as best as possible. Alright, now from here, we gotta change this. Let's set... Let's just use one of the brick textures, actually. Let's use a red brick texture. Red bricks. Let's just make sure that it... Oh, damn. I put it right here. Okay. Yes, I need to change the UV for this. I'll just okay, so not this. I want all of this. All stretch. And actually, I didn't even UV unwrap this. Unwrap. I said, the fuck? Why does it look like this? I mean, that's crazy. That's something I'd want to do before. There we go. And then we can just select... We can select a set amount of faces. I'm not entirely sure I'm supposed to do this. But I'll just keep trying until we get something pretty similar. There we go. Okay, and this is our... And then from here, all we need to do is go back to layout, and we can change this. So for a laser, we'll probably want a metal inside. Something heat resistant. So this whole part right here should probably be some type of metal. So we can assign another texture to it. Let's give it just normal metal. See how it looks with that. Assign texture paint. Okay, so we'll want UV editing. So we'll want to unwrap and then just do that. And then we'll want to select these ones back here and just there we go. That's good. But for these, yeah, this is what I couldn't figure out how I was supposed to do something like this. Yeah, we'll just leave it there for now. Okay. You know what? That's why. Alright, and then you can come here and select everything with red works. UV reset, unwrap, I don't know if projection does anything. There we go. There we go. Cube projection. Then we just do that. And now texture painting, the texture should look normal. If we want to go and change it back, we can just go up here to this. Texture paint, there we go. Yeah, UV unwrapping is extremely important. Once you have these textures on, this gets really handy. Let's just do that real quick. And then from here we can actually do cube and just scale that shit up. Alrighty. So now it looks like this. An actual cube building with actual metal and a button. So from here, there's a lot of things we can do, but I think that's a good place. Just, you know, from here, we just go into this. So this means it's locked, so I think if we want it to turn off, I think all we need to do is just select it with this and then turn the action to off. This one will be 3. Now this one will be 1. And then I'll use a event condition to do all this. But yeah, so that was an example of how you do some stuff here. That's crazy. I tried to make this and it's not long enough. Duplicate this. Duplicate this. Duplicate this one as well. So yeah, that's what this section is. I think I was trying to get... do I have anything that can block this? Probably just put more platforms down, honestly. So we do this. And then we... X that, and then yep. And then we come down here and try to the 80 speed should carry, especially for these first two, but and then once we get to a certain point, I think 150 will have to do. And then here we'll just put 200. Just to make sure. And this one will be 100. Yep. So yeah, normally, I'll just save this here. Normally I would export this stuff, but this stage already eats up a ton of resources and everything, so I think it'd be a good thing to just, after this is done saving, to switch to the other stage I was talking about. So let me change my music because we will no longer be in a city for this. What's a good... let's just do During the Summer right now. So yeah. So here we are in the fourth and most recent stage. You can see already that the runs are much better because there isn't a shit ton of stuff everywhere. The most that's going to happen is I'm going to dot this place with a few trees. This is all inaccessible. I think this one, more than anything, I want to try to, you know, curve and wind this stage. But, so this is Golden Plains. The big thing with this one is that I do want it to have... I think originally I wanted to have it be something that all 4 characters can do, and I still want to do that, but that basically requires, in order to use them to their fullest extent, that we use the attributes correctly. So essentially, in Sonic Frontiers, there's certain things in stages called stage attributes. It's within a file, the domain file, I think it was, or a stage RFL file. Not RFL, it's a Lua file, I think. Anyway, so that basically will determine it'll basically determine things like, you know, the name of the stage. I mean that file in general, and what you type within it will determine like the name of the stage, what missions it has, and all that. And how they interact with characters and your stats and stuff. So the attribute that we're using is called Master Trial. They're separated into Cyber and Master Trial, and I don't think the Open Zone has one. If there's nothing there, it'll just auto assume Open Zone. Master Trial is essentially just a fusion between Cyber and the normal playstyle, where it'll be in a cyberspace stage. You can use cyberspace objects, and it'll have an end of the stage, but you know your control and your stats are all based on the open zone of the game. Which also means that I'm pretty sure combat works without crashing if you put it in Master Trial. And I'm fairly certain putting open zone enemies in cyberspace without having the Master Trial attribute on will crash the game, I think. But yeah, my main issue with this stage is because it was so long since I started the last one. I kind of forgot Sonic's proportions and had to resize everything. Here's the start of the stage. I will add invisible wall at some point, but not now. So yeah, runs out through this bridge. Gets launched over here, and has to go underneath this. And in here is basically just like a platforming. Hold on, let me get out of edit mode. I'm done editing the rail. And inside here is a bunch of platforming, so the camera will be positioned right here. And you'll be able, it'll automatically pan to Sonic, so you'll be able to see everything. You just need to get your way over to the spring. Once you hit that spring, it'll take you out here, and you know you gotta go this way. Once you go this way, whether it be sliding under these platforms to get to those springs or jumping over to get to this spring that I should not make homing attack so that the other ones have a reason to be there. Whether it be hitting these loops or the spring, you go over here and then you can go down this hole. This hole doesn't have much in it. It just has a slidable surface that leads over there. So actually, fun fact, the slide doesn't exactly work in Sonic Frontiers or Shadow Generations. Someone named, I believe his name is pronounced Angryzor. Angryzor spent time to make, at least for Sonic Frontiers, a working slide mod. I don't know if he did it for Shadow yet, or if at all, if he was going to at all. But now that it's here, we can actually use slide obstacles as well. So, yeah, but once you slide in that, you can hit these springs. You go over to these rails. There's a camera pan thing, and then you switch rails again. I think these rails are too short because it's really hard to slide for them. So I think I'll just move everything here back a little bit, and then I'll extend them both. So we extend the start of this rail back here. We extend... We don't extend... We extend this rail a little bit. And then we extend this rail a lot so that it can actually... Yeah, and then we tilt it so that it can actually switch. That's why it's not doing anything. I didn't hit the correct button. So yeah, we do that, and then I think the rest of this rail is fine, honestly. So yeah, from here you can either hit this loop or this hoop, and it'll send you into those hoops, or you have to platform. Very light platforming, very easy. They should be farther up. Oh yeah, I fused it, so whatever. And then either way, whether you choose to go into the soup or not after that, it'll send you to this next part right here. This is where I screwed up. I think I screwed up by doing this. So this camera is a camera follow. It'll follow Sonic in whatever position it's in. They give you a reference point, which I think they should do for all the cameras, but it especially helps with this one. So this is like a little wire mesh version of that chunky Sonic. That's the start position. And so wherever the camera is in relation to him in Blender will be where the camera is in relation to actual Sonic in the game. I messed up here by making it fully sideways, so it's impossible to get through this loop because I didn't make this an auto run loop because I still do not have any luck trying to make 3D paths. My 2D ones kind of work, but like my 3D ones really just don't work at all. So instead, I think I'll have to make use of, well, first off, we're going to change the rotation so that it's behind Sonic instead of in front of, or instead of to the side of him. And then what we'll want to do is actually utilize something that's in Frontiers and even other Boost games that they use a lot, that is using the priority of camera volumes to make changing cameras within changed cameras. So I believe the priority for the one right here is 2. So since we established use high priority by doing this, we can now make sure that this camera volume is used regardless of where within this bigger one, because we're going to change the size of it, regardless of where in the bigger one we are. So this one, you can probably easily see where I'm going with this. This one's going to be in the loop. Now I gotta be careful because I want it to be in the loop, not outside of it. Because you do have to still use the normal camera angle to see. That looks good. Maybe just make it a little higher. And then we put it over here. Just right there. And then, because I did make this a loop, I think. Yeah, I did. So it's just as long as you don't jump off it, it should make you stick to the wall. And then, yeah, this looks good. And then for the camera, we'll want to have a camera follow for Sonic here as well. Actually, maybe, you know, no, we'll have a camera follow, but it'll be a different type of camera. So for camera follow, this one, actually, I think this one works. If not, maybe we'll, you know, lower the distance a little bit, and then turn it so that it faces them directly, and then use the pitch so that you can see the ground and a little farther in front. And yeah, so then we just use the eyedrop tool to put the camera on, and that should be good. From here, what we want to do, I think for what I wanted to do, I wanted to do a pan, but this is a ass, so I have to rotate this here. And from here, we should be able to see what I need you to see. Yeah, it should have a view of everything here. And then you can go on to a little higher. But yeah, then you can go on to these springs, And then here's the goal ring. So the way I'm going to do it actually is I'm actually going to use another thing. So there's been a lot of really, you know, smooth curved structures in this stage. These rails, this part up here inside the loop, these were all made using curves, which are exactly what they sound. They're used to make smooth, curved objects. And I'm about to use one right now. So if I'll add a new part of the geo for it. So how about let's call them two boys. So we have this two boy right here, right? We're going to add a curve, make it Bezier. It's a lot easier to use Bezier curves for Blendhog level creator. We'll want to clear the, no, it's not tilt, it's not tilting. How about we just delete the point, and then we can extrude a new point from here. Yep. Okay. So with this all in mind, we can now go to the curve section, and here's where you can make stuff like the inside of that loop. So what you'll want to do is it's basically the same as the text. You'll want to extrude it, and then you'll want to give it some depth. So this tells me that it is on its side. So what I need to do is I need to rotate it a certain amount. Or actually, I don't even need to do that. I can select all the points and tilt it. Which is crazy, actually. Select all the points and just tilt it. I don't know what exactly is going on here. Yeah, something's up. Is there more than one of these here? No, it's just the end being weird. Yeah, the end's going in reverse. I don't know how to deal with that. I think I'll just turn it first. I'll just rotate it. Okay, and then when we go back over here, we can actually choose to put caps on them. So now that we have fill caps, this should, that's the cap, yeah. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this. That was not the right way to go about that. I mean, I don't think it really matters so long as it actually, you know, works out well. And so from here, we can extrude it more than we were before. So if we continue the extrude, we can make it extra wide. I think I can make it like, I think I can make the inside of it profile. Yeah, I think I can make the inside of it insane. Okay, I've made the, okay, gotcha. Support loops. Steps. Interesting. Yeah, I completely forgot about this. But yeah, so these are all here. I can go back to default and have this. also don't know what taper radius does, but yeah. So now we can have a good way to know about how, when we extrude, how this stuff will work. You know, just be careful about positioning, because sometimes it can cause stuff like this. Yeah, see, that's what that was. That was having them be too close together. And then from here, you can make it whatever you want to. So because I want this to be the winding stage, at some point, I'm going to cause it to turn. The easiest way to do that would just be to do this. And then you can extrude as much as you want. And then I can just turn this. And then here's where the handles come in. These handles are extremely short, so what we can do is we can either do it ourselves, we can calculate the handles length. I don't exactly see the best way to do this, but we can do that, and then we can do this, so now it curves way smoother, and we can still keep extruding, and all we have to do is like turn these. And yeah. So if we want to raise some stuff, we can do it like this. Probably not selecting the whole thing, but yeah. Do that. And then we extrude again. Yep. And then if we want to turn this, we can tilt. But it's probably best to do that with a whole bunch of stuff. If we get to a point like this, the best thing to do here would be selecting these and then subdividing them, so that there's more areas to calculate things, and then from here we can extend our handle. There's going to be some points where it just breaks, and I'm not entirely sure how to fix that, but yeah, see, like this. I think I could possibly... Okay, we can use the radius like that. There we go. Just solve that real quick. Solve that. So yeah. And we can move this around, change where it curves. So like for here, right, what I want to do, that's the whole thing. Damn it. There we go. Let's see. Maybe if I... There we go. Texture space geometry. Yeah, this is what I'm doing, and for these you don't even for curves you don't have to change for curves you don't have to change uh you don't have to change them to an like a mesh. You can just keep it as is. So, like I said, I want this to wind a little bit. So the goal here is to make this path and then have it interspliced with platforming, and then have a section of it that moves around again. And the goal is to have it at some point around here be a big tree that you climb in. There are some objects that aren't in this, you know, there's some objects that just aren't in Blendtog currently. They are in the game, but they just aren't in the fan tool. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to extrude this thing to high help, and so for this one, I think we have a good one. And then just wanna hyper increase the depth, and then decrease the extrude. Okay, resolution. There we go. So the goal here is to make it as thin as possible, so that when we make it tall, it adequately looks like dirt underneath it. And then once we're here, we can do this. I think we can rotate it a little bit just to make sure it fits where it's supposed to. Yeah, see now if we go here, then most of this is there. We can actually just kind of move this a little bit more, make it fit what we need it to fit. And if absolutely necessary, once again, we can subdivide and use that to ensure that it conforms to the aspects we need. So with this, the first tube way is done. And we can now put just move this over, and we can now put our grass on it. or not grass, we can put our textures on it. If you're not touching it, I don't think there's any reason to like see it from here, right? We could scale it upwards. And then all we need is minimal changes afterwards if we really wanted it like that. But I think this is fine. We can block out the rest. Actually, I'm going to convert this to... I want to convert this to a mesh and this. I'm going to put the Golden Plains grass texture on it, and then for this dude, I'll put the Golden Plains dirt on it. Oh, these are shiny as hell. Let me just actually undo the meshing of this. Alright, so that's they're both those again. Okay. Right, so let's add our dirt and our grass. Still shiny. This is why I backed up, because there was some heavy clipping and it'd be really easy to put myself in a position where I couldn't fix this. Now, clipping isn't that big of a deal. It's going to happen regardless. Especially depending on the placement of objects, but I would like for it to not happen. Which means that at certain points I will have to rotate some things. There we go. Alright, I don't see any clipping anywhere except for back here. There we go. Okay, so for our grass, I think now will be a good time to, oh, actually, hold on. Down. Get this whole side, just drag it in. This is basically the bread and butter of this. Name of the game I'm making stuff. There we go. I also can't keep doing. I need to remember that there's control points that I can. So it's not really that important if it lags when you zoom out. What's really important is, or not lags, if it flips when you zoom out, because most stuff will. What matters is if you get real up close to it and it's still clipping. Because if that's the case, then you aren't done moving stuff. Okay. Prayers can work, but in order for me to change its UV, I will need to be able to get and actually have a UV, which means I need to turn it into a mesh. So I'll just take that shit. And in texture paint, there we go. Oh, you know what? I didn't even unwrap the shit first. UV unwrap. There we go. Look at that. That looks like a helix type thing. But it has screwed our textures, so we need to just blow this fucking thing up again. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going until the pattern is discernible. Just keep going. If it doesn't become discernible, then we need to start rotating. Yeah, so we need to make it bigger, and then we need to start rotating. Oh, you know what? You know what? We can cube project now. There we go. Now there is an inconsistency within my stage and how the gold grass texture is, but I don't really exactly care. I would like there to be points where it can be seen. So, and then just for there to be a point, we can go ahead and put we can go ahead and put a new platforming level, open level 2, and we can add a cube, make that real big, and then use it as the dirt. We can subdivide. Just don't do this too much. This can blow up some stuff. Okay, and then actually to make it look more like a rock, we could use, where is it? Deform. Not warp. Where is it? This place. New texture. If we go down to texture, we can make it. Go down to marble, and this, and if we go back to this, we can actually see it happening in real time. We just have to do some changes for it. A lot of this is just kind of trial and error. You know, keep going until you get it. Because I don't need anything this strong, so I'm just trying to see. All right, so marble won't work. Linear, nope. Diagonal. That's cool, but I don't need that. Radial. Radial could work. Just let me check and see. There's some points that we need. Yeah, there's some points clipping, so radial could probably not work. Let's try vertical. This presents the same problem. Quadratic. No. Easing. Diagonal. Spherical. Quadratic, sphere, linear. Okay, yeah, no. It's this one. Don't work. Clouds. Perlin. Blender original. Soft. Grayscale with size. Depth. I don't need it. That's closer. depth of oh, hold on. Can I see? Can I? Let me see if I can. Music. Let's see. Where is trying to find? It's actually pretty cool. I gotta remember that that can happen. Also, my grass is inverted now. Well, that's cool. I can just make sure that I normals calculate outside. Inside. Well, that didn't do shit. Everywhere else registers as fine, but I don't want to. Set that shit for faces. See if it did anything. No, it didn't. There we go. That fixed it. Okay, back to this. I just gotta remember that this is a thing that can happen. Okay. That was an interesting thing to see, though. Now I know that I can do that. So now when I find the thing I was actually looking for, there it is. Sand, mud, rocks. Open. Crazy. Okay, so let's not use that then. This. Oh, actually, you know what? That works. Since it's in this, I think I should actually just use dirt. And then on top of it, dirt, and then on top of it, add another cube. We'll put the grass. And this one will make sure it covers this, make it a little deep. You just want to make sure that it covers the grass, or not the grass, the dirt in a believable way. So we'll want it a little over it on all four sides. Not quite stopping short, but not going supremely over. And then from here, we can actually add, because of how big that is, and then from here we can add noise to this one as well. So we'll launch displace, new, grass, it's not it, grass, and then we go down to textures, and we use our grass image. Alright, what's happened here? Alpha, pre-multiply, nope, straight. As non-color, if I change this to the normal, what will this do? Oh, you know what? I'm dumb. I didn't subdivide first. Always remember to do that. Now if we go here, yeah, look at that. In fact, it's so much that we need to actually shrink this. I actually just improvised a way to make dirt. That was believable. Just gotta add the displace grass. Tab that all subdivide and just hit that a couple times. See how that, yeah, look at that. Add, form, displace grass. And part of the reason this isn't working, I think, is because I don't know what it is. I'm just dumb. Let me subdivide a little more. There it is. You can see all of them. And I'm using the normal map for this too. And I have backface culling on, so if there's anywhere where it would cause us to see through it, we should see it. It doesn't look like there is. This one, we can convert this to a mesh now, because it's done its job. And from here, we can select everything, maybe subdivide it a little more, and then add the displace modifier, put rock on it, and then when we exit edit mode, there it is. Oh yeah, I haven't even done the textures for them yet, I don't think. Oh no, we have. So for this one, we'll want to UV edit all. Just blow this up. All of it. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Bad. Okay. You can see it starts to lag. There we go. See how well this looks. This looks alright. Let me see if unwrapping will do anything. It just crashes on me, I swear to God. So on the off chance this crashes on me, right? This will be the end of the stream. Let's change the sound. Sound like Unleashed. That is not what I wanted. Make sure you mess with your Blender's autosave feature, by the way. Because if they aren't on and this happens, you've lost everything. I think I managed to reboot a old save of the last one, which is why I'm not too worried about this one, because otherwise I lose a lot. And now it's on my home screen. Oop. I might have to reload. Yeah, let's just shut this down real quick. Reload my last save. I can't be too far. Yeah, let's close that real quick. There's gonna be a black screen for a little bit. Let me open Blender again. Okay. Okay. Recover last session. File. That's not it. Recover an autosave. 723. Cover autosave. There we go. Yeah, this wasn't that far at all. I think this is right before we started doing the... Okay, yeah, so this is right before we started doing anything on the dirt and this. So we can leave that for right now. But what I want to do is I want to put our nice dirt texture. Actually, this helps a lot for selling the dirt look. Does this help for selling grass, though? Kinda. We do have to do some work for this. We need to go to UV editing, hit the all button, just fucking salt that shit. At times like these, I usually try to go for a, you know, one tile for this, one tile for the UV is equal to the whole image tile. Usually I try to do that. I just think it helps more with lining stuff up. So we put that there. And then we lower that a little bit. And we should be good to go. There it is. So now when we go to texture paint, that looks good. And so does this. And the thing about this is the normals are also tied to the way that these look. So wherever these textures are placed, the normal textures should, keyword being should, be in the same place. In fact, we can go ahead and see that's what that's like through the shader editor. So this one is the normal. I can increase the strength to 10. I don't think it's doing much right now though. And this is this. But yeah. So actually we can go into sculpting now. If I wanted to. So like I could try to smooth this stuff out, maybe. I don't think I'm doing much though. Yeah, it's not going. But yeah. So this is, yeah, so this is the dirt. No, the grass. So from here we can start putting, like, we can make, let's say, we can make a bridge of sorts over this part right here. You know, so let's duplicate this and put this over here, right? And then in between them, we can put add mesh cube. Let's call this second floor bridge. All right, and then we make it as long as we need to make it. Flatten it out as much as we need to. Okay, so we don't need it that long. And I don't think we needed that thick. Put them like that. Raise it so that it's up to where we can get on and off of it. Make it thick enough so that the displacement will actually work, because that's something that needs to happen. And we'll duplicate this and put it underneath this and call it dirt. And to keep in, well, actually no, let's just leave that. So we're going to put another displacement, and then we're going to use our grass, and then we're going to remember to go into edit and subdivide. And then we'll go back here. Look at it. Grass is nice. So we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna edit, we're gonna subdivide, and then we're going to repeat that. We're going to add our displacement, add our rocks, tab. This one might need a little bit of a change so that it's noticeable. So we can switch the directions of it. So I don't know, let's Y, nope. Z, nope. Well, actually, Z works. But let's global space it. Strength. Mid-level. Global. Or object. Yep. And I believe now that we've done this, we can, what was it? Control B, Shift B. I think I need to be in edit mode. Shift B, nope, Control B. That's not it either, that's bevel. Control Shift B. That's not it. Tab, see, Control Shift B. Does anything? Nope. How was it? Wasn't just pressing B, because that does whatever this is. And if we press B here, nothing happens. Was it? No. Hold on. Let me do something real quick. W. Let's try edit mode. There we go. Oh, and it depends on where the, okay. Gotcha. Okay. You can also turn rotate it. It has a slight curve now. So there we go. Even with just a slight curve, it looks a lot more natural. And then from here, it's pretty much just the same thing. Add our grass texture. We're gonna fix that after. And then add our dirt texture. Tab. UV editing. All. Blow that up. Layout. Actually, let's go UV editing just there we go. There we go, that's nice. This one we do the same thing. All. There we go. And there it is. I could make it around the same as this. Okay, yeah, one tile. Go. There's the grass, and then we can add a lot of platforming segments here. And we can add, if I really need to, I can add the lava tag, which will enable lava. And then I can just put the tag at lava onto something, and it will make it instant kill with the lava death effect. Sadly, there's no way to make it ring loss damage, at least not that I know of. I tried. So yeah, this is probably going to keep. It's probably going to go forward and keep winding. So the goal for a lot of these stages is to make them like Um, let me just add a new, because there's a lot of opener stuff. So let's and then for these I usually just do like I want to do platforming that's part of uh part of the floor or part of the stage geometry. I'll usually name it something like that in a separate thing. So actually, yeah, okay, we can convert this to a mesh, edit, all, unwrap. My stupid ass didn't even save. Finish? Oh, it finished. Okay. UV edit level. The first thing I should do is fucking save the shit. There we go. And just all that one. We can UV now Q projection, and then we can just do this. And it's not all the way perfect, but you know, there it is. And then from here we can kind of just block some stuff out. So, you know, like if we want to have a better attachment to the floor, we could just in background just add a cube, massively scale it up. Could be bigger, but if you want it the same size as if we wanted it the same size, we can make it the same size. You know, put it up here. Use the new trick we found using displacement and rock texture. Once again, forgetting and going back to do the subdividing. And then putting the dirt texture on it. It doesn't really mesh, but you know, it's whatever. We can also go here and we can actually add more modifiers as well. Okay. We can add more modifiers as well, but I think I'm gonna probably leave that to itself for right now. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. But yeah. So back to the platforming stuff up here. We'll figure out what to put down here in a bit. The thing that I struggle with, right, is that there isn't really a lot to naturally put into states. You know, I don't have the ability to make stage-specific hazards. I can make stage-specific things like floating platforms through modeling and maybe even gizmos if I figure that out. But nothing that can damage the player or do anything specific. That I think is like the biggest limiting factor with Sonic Frontiers staging. Is we're kind of at the point where the basic stuff has all been figured out. So next is the extremely difficult part. And yeah. we gotta kind of figure those out now. I kind of figured that having it be larger would give it a cool rock face effect where it got bigger the way down, but it really didn't. I think that effect works better with it in this size. And you know, we can just continue to block it out from here. I think the best place to do this actually would be here. Add another cube. You know, size it up. You know, put it where it needs to go. Make it taller. Make it longer. Whatever needs to be done to it to fit where it's going. And just back it up just a little bit. Subdivide. And then from here we add the displays to form rocks. And then we could do RGB XYZ. That's a good difference. And it doesn't look like anything is actually being cut off. So actually, we could do this. Oof. Strength. Okay. And then we add our texture. So yeah, this is just a basic part of this. And so like, for instance, we want to have them do something to make it to this bridge part, right? So that would involve creating a wall. Doesn't have to be massive, it just needs to be high enough for it to be clear that you can't make it there right now. And if we want to, we can be a little extra, maybe give it a little tilt or something. And yep, we can subdivide, repeat, hit that displace, rock. Yeah, there is some parts of it that are affected by the normal. Not a lot of it, though. I mean, if we really need to, we could tab. Or no, if we really need to, we could apply it, then tab, then we can mesh and clean up and delete loose. But yeah, there's like a cleanup tab. We can do all that type of stuff here. So what would I want to do? Not that. Not that either. Okay. Clean up. Wait. Not this. Okay. What the hell? There's a lot of stuff that I don't even know how to do. Let's try limited dissolve. I feel like it was changing the shape of something. But I might just be stupid. Delimit. UV's sharp. feel like it is changing something, but oh, you know what? There we go. You know, clean up by decimating the geometry, by simplifying it. I still leave some of them, but you know, we can clean up like this. Limited dissolve. Like those hanging parts are still there. Tear not all boundaries. Seams. UVs. Mesh. Coming up. Merge by distance. Ugh. That was something interesting to do. That's crazy. What just happened? Okay. Edges, faces, nothing. Okay. Let's see. Mesh. Did that already. Let's try this then. That's crazy. Uh-huh. No, they really didn't fix the problem, but it made it look good. Nice. Okay. Edges. Faces. Nothing, nothing. Yeah, it's these part right here. Edit. That's just kind of smooth. There we go. It's a nice curve. That's crazy. Makes my shit explode like that. It's fucking insane. So yeah, this is gonna be like our wall, and we want to make something that'll get them over here. So we also can't forget to make use of ramps and slopes. So let's add there we go. So let's put something right there. Let's add another cube. Let's just, we're gonna keep this one simple. This will be one we jump on. And then we'll duplicate it. And then this one can be level 2 cube and dirt. And this one can be 2 cube and grass. And so yeah, okay, so this one we can flatten it out a little bit. Again, grass. Right, yep. Tab, subdivide. And our new favorite duo. Displacement. And fucking absurdity. I had nowhere to go with that. I was just, oh, okay. That's a bit too much. The mid-level, lower the strength just a little bit. And then this can thin out. These can small. And then we can deform, displace, rock. Tab, subdivide, yep, tab. So the complete violations of normals is fine when it's like this. We can give it more strength though, and then like up the mid-level. Now put the underground dirt on it. That's crazy, actually. There we go. And then for this one, grass on it. From here, though, okay, first off, I need to unwrap the UV, go to UV editing. I did say unwrap this, right? And we projected this cube. Hit A, blow this up. Alright, good, we're good. Okay, layout. So from here, what I actually want to do is I want to have either a sloped, I don't want to have a loop. I want to have like a raised bridge when you go up, slanted, I guess, like a ramp, or I want just a straight slope that you would shoot yourself up. So there are several ways to do that actually. Let's add cube. Let's say level 2 ramp. So we do that just a little bit. Do that. Make sure that we subdivide it. Subdivision is important. Unless you have something that's supposed to be just straight the shape that it already is, you'll want to subdivide it so that whether it be sculpting something or editing something like this, or like editing something through the edit mode, or editing something through these modifiers in object mode, you'll want to do all that. So I showed you already, we can bend. So now we've created a curve. It's kind of tilting though, so what I want to do is just be straight on with it and then do that, and now there's our ramp, or our slope. It's actually a little too, and then also we can just shorten it so that it's not absurdly long when we do that. And then W, no, edit, and then Shift W, and oh, you know what? It also depends where your cursor is too. There we go. Now we have a ramp, and then we can put our displacement, grass, tab. Now these could very well interfere with the way that our ramp will work. So what we'll probably want to do is add a smooth modifier and smooth it out just a little, and then we can lower it down, and then just add our grass texture, and then if it comes out shit like this, we can just do this. Unwrap, cube projection, all blow that shit up. Back to layout. The sides might not look it, but the bottom and especially the top are looking real good. So we're just gonna lower that even more, and then we smoothed it a little too much, I think. So we should do that, and then up the factor. Damn. So actually, you know what? I can work with this. So then we go here, we hit this, and then there should be a deform modifier. There should be a I can warp it. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so actually this is cool because some ramps you'll want to shoot off of. I was actually kind of thinking about having one that you're supposed to jump off of. And then from here, if you want to add, like, say, mesh level 2 dirt. Okay, so things are. I'm changing some things. We're going into manual editing now, which is changing our edges, faces, and vertices. Using loop cuts, which is what I'm about to do right now. Yeah, so this is more of like manual editing. Nothing really fancy, at least, well, fancy like auto generation fancy, but more like normal 3D model generation fancy, where we're using the different parts of the model and just kind of moving them all individually instead of in unison, which is what we were doing before when we were, scaling and all that and bending. This is definitely a lot more time consuming as an option, but it can help if there's some really specific like thing that needs to be changed. The more specific it is, the more likely I'd be like, if you were gonna ask me about something, the more specific it is, the more likely I'd probably be like, just use the normal editing, because trying to do something like that with trying to do something real simple with some of this stuff is just kind of trash. Cube. Just kind of all that. And then we can move it so it's like this. Then we go to layout. It looks like this in the layout. We go to texture paint, and it looks like this. So that's a pretty good way for that to look. Oh, you know what? I didn't do anything with my texture for this. Object, this, edit. Oh, just kinda do that real quick. Okay, and then we go to texture paint. There it is. I never really look at like normal maps usually, so it gets really hard to see. Like it's not something I'm used to, so it's really hard to see how it's gonna work. So okay, I do want to put more here, but just for the sake of time, especially since I'm getting tired and I do want to eat something and then go fuck to sleep. Since I've been streaming for 3 hours, there hasn't really been any. Because remember, the whole point of this was a test, so there hasn't really been anything changed about my stream setup right now. Hopefully that remains. Yeah, hopefully let's turn on something from Sonic after the sequel. This is before the sequel. Where's after? There's after. Pop and Circumstance is cool, but I think I'll go for Horizon Heights. I think. Which version of Horizon Heights was I going to use for this? Because I do want to have some actual heights, and I do want some cave involved. I still want to have that. It's just going to be a version that isn't so intensive that it causes my computer to freeze every time, like it was before. I believe it was. This sounds more like something I'd probably hear in a Heights version, so up real high. Let me just go ahead and look and see. In this one, what's that? Oh yeah, all that stuff is probably in my other book. Let me see if I can get it. That's it right there. Come on. Oh, and the page it was already on immediately was the one that said all the houses that I need to replace. They were fixed houses number 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 14, and 15. So I'll make that note whenever I get back to it. Looking at this, it says the floor should be Horizon Heights 2. So I think because originally, so this is actually one of the conceptually in terms of stages. This is the first stage, I believe, that I came up with for making stuff, and I stopped so that I could learn how to do it. And you know, there's been now, I think, 2 different mod packs that I've made that have just been nothing but tests. One where I just went straight for it and figured stuff out on my own, and one where the sole purpose was to test stuff. It wasn't to make a level, it was to test things. So this is going to be my first time just making actual stages, because no matter how hard you test for something, you know, in practice, there's nothing like actually doing it. So I was just like, screw it. I know how to change parameters. The only thing I really don't have a handle on in terms, just from like the technical standpoint, is like maybe the event conditions, because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't for me. There's a pretty big example of they don't in Abandoned City. But yeah, so I put this on hold. So an original point that I wanted to make for this was I wanted there to be different colored flowers that would lead you to places. I'll still do that. I want there to be different colored flowers for red rings, and maybe even the number rings and stuff, but I think even more so, I want there to be different colored flowers for what path each character takes. So, you know, one that's obvious. I think Sonic should be the most obvious one, so I probably won't have to do many blue flowers, but like, you know, yellow for Tails, pink for Amy, red for Knuckles. I can differentiate the flower shape for Knuckles and the red rings. You know, I had an idea. I still have the models for them. I just need to change how their textures work, and then I can bring them in. But you know, that's all stuff that I want to do, but all stuff I really do not have the time to do right now. So instead of doing all that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flying spring. A flying spring that will send me over the wall, and I can just dash to the goal ring, because this time I actually fully intend to show you guys the export process, especially since I've changed all the cameras and stuff now. Okay, so that should be good. I'll save this. Okay, and then, so when you export, I use quick export. You do need a lot of other things for this, and we do have the mod set up already. So I saved, something should be selected. It's really weird like that. You can't export something unless something's selected on here. Let's select the goal ring. Okay, yeah. And so first we will export the, if you have like a height map or stuff and other stuff, you could export it here. But for me, it's really only objects and terrain, so we will start exporting. Okay, yep, that's done. And the terrain will usually take a little longer because there's a lot more everything involved. It's not just printing coordinates for things and calling things. It's actually like creating files, transferring files, and all that. Or not transferring, but yeah, converting files to things, creating files, hell, maybe even transferring files. But yeah, so when this happens, after this is done, this usually happens when things start getting real complicated. It will start slowing down the export process. So we'll just wait here. So actually, this has been going, besides this part, which, you know, usually does this. You know, other than this part where, you know, it usually starts doing this around this time. It's been running pretty well. You know, I kind of expected to expected it to run a little shit, but from what I remember anyway, from what I saw, I didn't look back much. From what I saw, okay, it's done. From what I saw, it didn't really like lower frames or anything. So we're gonna save all that, and then I'm going to open up this application called a Hedge Mod Manager. I might have to sunset our music for this. We will, oh, yeah, okay. Update that, check all mods for updates. And I will once more save this. I will save, oop, wait, hold on. Yeah, I'm not using this one. Oh, it's already unplugged. Okay, cool. Got it. Alright, I'm gonna, this might screw up everything, but I have to plug in my DualSense controller. It's what I use to play PC games that use controller. And Sonic is one of those, so come on. There we go. Damn. Yeah, it really did move everything. Hold on, let me go ahead and change. There we go. Is my mic still working? Hello? 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 I think it is. It should be anyway. Let me just check and make sure that my mic is using the right thing. Yes, it is. Okay. So, we're going to save and play. And then when that game comes up, I'm going to switch over to our Frontiers level progress. And I'll show you what we got going on. It is solidly daytime now. Okay. Let me stop the music real quick. Okay. There it is. Oh, I need to resize it. There we go. Alright, here we are on Sonic Frontiers. I didn't even need to stop music. Alright, well, let me lower it a little bit. Both on... Actually, it's not even going to be on stream. And Sonic Frontiers has no sound. That's why. Okay, hold on. Recording 3s, so desktop audio shouldn't be on here. I never record desktop audio. Alright, there we go. Loops. Okay. Let's make sure this goes. Okay, and then we can add music. Okay. Let me just do that real quick. Wonder if y'all can hear that. There we go. And Frontiers. There we go. Alright, so from here we just go into arcade mode. Now I didn't change the name for this. It's still E4 from my test stuff. But rest assured it will open the stage that we made. Here we are. Here's our stage working in game. It is using open zone physics. The hell? It is using open zone physics. Some things are kind of clunky, some things aren't. So this is what I was talking about. Let me go down this hole. That's crazy. I think the biggest thing I have a problem with is because this is one-time activation. I made this mistake. The biggest thing I have a problem with is around this because for some reason when I spawned it in, serious? Why is the camera still? See, a lot of work still needs to be done, but to fix a lot of it. Here we are. And here's the see because it's there's a lot of textures either. Normal textures in E4. It's also kind of changing the landscape. I was also like, that's it for this test stream, I guess. I might do more of this, especially here, but it's, it's pretty early. In the stage of lifespan, haven't even started branching off to the path. The giant tree will be there. We'll have the other one, the different paths. But yeah, so that's about it. I'll see y'all. We'll see in the next video. What, 2 days? Also cool. Tuesday and today. Pokemon 2 days. And then a week from now. Like 2 days less than a week. 5 days from now. We'll be out of here. And y'all will have Sonic Colors starting. And that will happen. So, yeah. That's about it. That is, yep, that is about it. Bye.